Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at XRP and Bitcoin, see what's going on with those two, and also just recap on the epic trade that we're doing with CNS at the moment. Basically up 100% profit in basically 2 days, 48 hours, 100%. You can't go wrong with that. Anyway, there's been a lot of big moves with a lot of coins, so we'll move that to last, and we'll start with the basics, which is Bitcoin. So what's going on with Bitcoin? And excuse me for the sweaty face heat wave in the UK. You know, we're not used to that kind of heat here. It's probably nothing for you guys abroad, but for me, it's killing me. Anyway, let's have a look. So basically what's happening here is after that drop yesterday, which is a little underwhelming and actually, you know, reassuring in a way, as far as the overall strength is concerned, we only came down to the center of the Bollinger Band on the daily. So the 21 simple moving average is where we tested down onto, and we tested that again today. So that was 11,150. That's not such a big deal actually. That's actually okay. It corresponds to this big body here that brought us all the way back up to the top of the uptrend of support and resistance. Currently is at resistance. We want it to be support because we rejected on these occasions, but when we get supported from it, we get big moves. Being rejected from it is all part of the game. This is a really important trend line, and a trend line that's probably going to be more prevalent, and probably prevalent for a very long time. It's been here for several years now, and it's still holding up as far as a reasonably good trend line. So what I'm saying here is, if we were going to have further dump, we probably would have seen more of a follow through from here. We haven't. We've actually bounced quite well, but we're finding ourselves being rejected from this blue box area. So this blue box is where we were trading within before. This area is all resistance, so 11,560, all the way up to 12,050. So it's quite a large area of resistance, and it's currently being tested as we speak. You could also add the fact that we're being rejected on the 10 simple moving average, but that's no big deal. I think there's a lot of resistance around this area, but once this area is taken out, and it will one day get taken out, that's when we'll see our super massive mega trend. So similar to the way that this trend line here, I'm sorry for all these trend lines by the way, but this big long trend line over 2 years long, 2.5 years long, was taken out, and we were saying as soon as that gets taken out, we'll flip to bullish mode because we were expecting a rejection. We didn't get it, so we flipped bullish, and we cashed in. Same sort of deal is going to happen when we break this trend line here. Once this is broken and turned to support, and you could argue that it's been broken here and essentially closed above, but what I always say is with a trend line that's so big and so long, and it's difficult to get it exact. So there's a few areas of resistance here. We all want to see 12,050 get taken out and turn to support, but basically resistance here, resistance here, resistance here, and then basically big move like this one. So that's what we're anticipating. We're waiting for that move. At the moment we're kind of dancing around in this area, so for me it's technically it's a bit of a no trade zone. Any kind of sideways action is good for alts, as you can see. Some of the alts that are still going at the moment, a lot of the DeFi coins are going, and also it's a decent area to maybe pick up some others that are sort of not so much underperforming, but kind of being forgotten. So just to list a few that I'm involved in now, I've got some Dash, I've got some Key, Zill, I'm looking for a pump, StormX, what else have we got there, Binance coin. There's a whole list of shoot me, but Pundi, we've got a bit of Pundi going on there as well. So I've picked up a lot of those in this area, because it looks to me as though the bull market is likely to begin, but it's not begun yet until, I mean technically it began when we broke out of here, but all of this area can be retested. But once we break out of here, then it will really start to go mad, and that's Bitcoin, and Bitcoin will take the market with it. And at the moment dominance is still relatively low. So and it's bearish actually, so you could argue that the bull market will be kinder on alts than it would be on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's kind of slow really at the moment, and the way that the dominance chart looks, it's going to be slow for a while, and the money is certainly going to be in the altcoins. So speaking of altcoins, let's have a look at XRP. So XRP has had its big move so far, and we've had our golden cross, and we're waiting for that to kind of play out. Currently, at the moment, the moving averages are not looking too great, and actually the curvature in the move of this formation looks very much like Bitcoin, so kind of curling over and coming down beneath the resistance blue box territory. So this could mean one of two things. It could mean that we were rejected from here and actually come back down to the center of the Bollinger Band, talking about 26 and a half, where we bounced from yesterday, 26.7, 26.8. And if we break down from there, then we would come down a lot lower. 25 would, in my book, get taken straight out, and we'd be looking at areas about 24, top areas of 23 cent. But it's not a problem. In fact, when we look at some of these indicators here, so we've got the MACD has crossed bearish, so that's asking for a pullback. But really, when we have such big bold moves like we've had so far, and we've seen this with a lot of other of these small altcoins, they make their big run, they cool off, and then they launch again, and that's kind of what I'm expecting. So yes, we do have a cross here, but it's in bullish territory, way into bullish territory. We've got all this way down here to come back down to when it starts to get actually scary. It's not scary at all. In fact, it's definitely a good healthy sign, because it's bringing the RSI down, it's bringing the money flow index down. It basically means that yes, if we do come down to these areas, it'll be a certain buy or a decent long, and it doesn't scare me at all. In fact, it's very reassuring, because it means that the next areas after this would be areas like 40 cent, 45, 50 cent, which sound crazy when you think about it, because that'll be doubling from these areas, but that's how I'm seeing this chart play out. We're cooling off after a giant run. Even if you measure it just from this area where it really started to get going, it rallied 67% just from that area. The golden cross took place here, and a lot of people thinking that that's the area that it's gonna. That's not how golden crosses work. I mean, yeah, you do get bots and algorithms, and you know, the inexperienced trader will trade just because they saw a golden cross. This golden cross was formed as a result of a move. Now what we're really looking to do is find the formation of these moving averages spreading out in a nice way, and they're getting there slowly but surely. What we want to see is this purple cross, this white. That's not a golden cross or anything like that. It's just showing that there's a nice divergence of moving averages. Now we do have a bit of a curl going on here. That's no big deal. What we really want to see though is for us to get above this 10 EMA and the 10 simple, and then we can start to move. So again, I think, you know, it could pump from here, definitely. I prefer it to cool off for a little longer. Same with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin can cool off around this area with a trading range between here and not try itself to get up too high. Again, we've got a negative cross on the MACD, that's fine. Money flow index is falling down dramatically. If it comes down to these bottom levels down here, that'll be a buy in itself. But it's not done that. This is all speculation of what's likely to happen if we continue with this price action. At the end of the day, you know, we do have bearish signals, but we're what would appear to be now in a bull market. And this, even though it corresponds to these drops down here, it also corresponded to the drop in gold. Gold and Bitcoin are heavily correlated at the moment. Basically because they're being traded as a store of value, as a commodity. So I'm not saying that they're trading together, that they're being treated as the same kind of asset, really. You could argue that Bitcoin is almost a commodity with zero value to it. Anyway, moving on. So Bitcoin, again, looking like it wants to come back up to test this trend line, maybe even 12,000. And if 12,050 gets taken out and held above on a daily close, I think we'll be looking to see some really big moves with Bitcoin, and it will probably take the rest of the market with it. It might leave some of these coins like XRP behind in the short term, but with the chart that looks so good, with the golden cross cooling off and RSI coming back down into the low 60s, XRP's definitely got room to move as a result. So let's just, before we finish the video, let's just marvel at this CNS trade. Again, you know, a lot of these coins you can trade with small amounts of money. Because the volumes are low, you don't want to be putting in a great deal, but the volume's picking up on this one now, and it's been picking up for a while. So I got in on this one back here, took some profit, and got back in around here, and I'm feeling as though this has got further to move now, maybe back up to around towards 2 cent or so. With a chart so small, it's very difficult to say. because there's not a great deal to go on. But look at the MACD, okay, so the MACD is just crossing the 0 point now with massive bullish divergence. We don't have a great deal of moving averages of any value here, but what we do see is the two that I'm using at this moment would be the 50 exponential, which I'm using kind of a baseline, and the 10 exponential, which is something I always use anyway. We're riding up the 10 exponential at the moment, being supported on these last one. This is what, a 4-hourly chart that I'm using here. So we're being supported each time we come down to it. So this is bull mode right now. So we're moving bullish. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if we continue to ride up this wave. This is different to this parabolic move. This is actually a sustainable move. And yes, you will see corrections and pullbacks. So long as we don't break down beneath the 10 EMA, everything's still good to go. At the end of the day, this coin is, I mean, just from the trades I've done this, you know, in this last, what, 3 weeks? Less than that, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. Let me work out how much I've gained on this one. So that would have been about 1,000%, another 100% there. So when did I get involved in this one? It was about 150 or so, wasn't it? So so I closed it around about here. So I've made about a 10x altogether on this one. Close more than that actually. This would have been about a 15x on this one. Now what I'm doing is because you can convert, you basically, what you're supposed to do, or what you can do, is if you want to, you can convert this into CNR. So you basically accumulate 28% more on top each month, and you get given that on an hourly basis. So every time I take profit, half goes into that, which is like a hodl fund, and another half gets traded. Because when you're making such significant gains like this, I mean, it's been a long time since I put my original, a long time ago since the original investment went in here of $100, turned that into 1,000 basically, and then profited, took profit on half of that, and put that into Tether, traded the rest, and with my Tether, and then the rest of it's gone to CNR, which is basically just accumulating. So I'm basically just trading with pure profit right now. That $100 that I put in is, well, I mean, it looks like peanuts now just because of this in such a small period of time. If I know this is an XRP video, but there are other things out there and other exchanges, and I've got to give it to Probit. Probit is really gone to town on this coin, and I don't know if this will get listed on other exchanges. Who cares? When you got volume like this, it's very tradable. When you got moves like this, it's very tradable, and like I say, close to a 15x now I've made it on this in about 2.5 weeks. I'm not here to be a financial advisor, so this is not a financial advice, but sometimes you just got to move away from Bybit and Binance and just have a look at some of these other opportunities. As a whole, Probit is not a great exchange, but when it comes to some of these little gems, this is certainly a gem. This is some decent money. I would definitely ask you to give it a look. If you don't have a Probit account, you can set one up with a link at the bottom of the video. Anyway, I'm going to leave it with you there. So just as a recap, Bitcoin might come up to test this level and will probably be rejected. But if any closure above 12,050 or 12,100, we're looking for big bold moves. XRP cooling down, waiting for that. We're in good situation with the RSI. That's all good and done, and we're waiting for our next long on this one. I wouldn't want to short this one at the moment, not with this kind of setup, even though we do have a bearish MACD cross there. And just finally, get yourself on Probit, because CNS, you can't complain. Anyway, thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Hope you have a nice evening. Take it easy.